are in listen-only mode.
Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Leela Rhodes and I'll be your moderator today. Thank you so much for joining us here at NetCom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solutions. We are very excited to host today's event, Understanding the Fundamentals of Architecting on AWS. And presenting today's topic is Brian Wu. Brian has 19 years of consulting experience in information technology industry, and with his rich training experience within the IT industry, covering a wide range of skills and knowledge from data center and network infrastructure to more recently cloud architecting and implementation, he has been training up the enterprises in all industry level verticals to help their adoption of cloud technology. Now, please bear in mind that this is still just an overview of a very robust topic, and we do offer a collection of technical and business courses that can be tailored towards your specific requirements. If you're interested in a further discussion about any of those, you can make an appointment with our learning consultants through our website at www.netcomlearning.com. Today's session is also being recorded, so you will get free access to the recording in the next 24 hours via email. NetCom Learning helps customers build innovative learning organization by achieving a smarter workforce, adopting change, and driving growth. We do this with a broad catalog of offerings, developing customized learning plans, and our global delivery capabilities. Since 1998, we have been empowering organizations with our managed learning services to help them reach optimal performance results and address challenges. We have 9 practice areas in which we specialize, and they encompass people, process, and technology training. Today's presentation is from the cloud practice area. NetCom Learning offers a comprehensive training portfolio for cloud courses, and our upcoming classes include various trainings on AWS Technical Essentials, Cloud Practitioner, Architecting on AWS, Security Essentials, and more. And private training to teams is also available, and the learning plans can be customized to the specific needs of each audience. You can also access a variety of cloud marketing courses, such as the free 1-hour trainings, free on-demand trainings, and blogs by clicking on the available webinar handout. And these offerings can also be found with a simple search on our website, www.netcomlearning.com. In this event, you will explore the best practices and design patterns for architecting optimal IT solutions on the AWS cloud. Moreover, you will get an opportunity to build and explore a variety of infrastructures through guided discussions and hands-on activities and much more. Now, I'll just give you a quick overview of the logistics before we do get started today. To start with, you have the option to adjust the window size to your liking. You can simply hit the escape key and find the Zoom button on the top left corner of your GoToWebinar viewer. Everyone has been muted except for our presenters, but you can feel free to submit any questions you have for the presenters in the questions panel, and we will address them at the end of the session. And now I'm going to go ahead and pass the time over to Brian to present today's topic.
Yes,
Brian,
thank
you
you.
should be able to share your screen now.
Yeah, can you see my screen now?
I can. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you. In my part, first of all, we will take a look on the well architecting framework. And then after that, we will take a look on what is AWS Global Infrastructure. And after that, we will focus on one service, that is Simple Storage Service, S3. And then finally, we will take a look on some best practice. Of course, I will also do some demo. So let's get started. In AWS, just a little bit background, as you may know, AWS stands for Amazon Web Service. They start the cloud business since 2006, and they are the first guy to do that. So instead of building the data center server in your on-premises data center, actually you can use anytime pay-as-you-grow on demand. So this today's topic, we are going to talk about the well architected framework. First of all, in the well architecting framework, there are 5 pillars. All right, and as you can see, security. Okay, security is maybe the most important, and then reliability, cost optimization, performance, and then also operational excellence. Okay, let's take a look in each area. So a good architecting should focus on these 5 area, and then security is the most important. Personally, in some project, I really talk to discuss with the very big giant company, the security team head, CSO, CISO, and they actually have the permission to approve or deny any project going to the cloud. If they are not happy, we don't need to talk about anything else. All right. So security on the cloud is the top priority. But as you can see, many company, including banking, insurance company, and a lot other, think that the cloud could be even more secure comparing with they do the things on-prem. So security, actually, there are many things to talk about. Personally, I deliver a lot of security training in the past 2-3 months, and then we focus on a lot of area like networking, encryption, access control, what we are going to do if there is some instance, something like that. So here in AWS Cloud, security is the top priority. Identify the foundation. Okay, what service you are going to use. We should be able to chase if somebody did something wrong, no matter intentionally or unintentionally. We need to find it out. All right, and secure all the layer. All right, from the network to the database to the server application, all the API call, and then every layer, and then risk management and risk assessment. So there are many things, but this is the most important priority in using AWS Cloud. And then the second thing is reliability. Reliability, maybe some failure. Okay, no people can guess. Maybe the data center can goes down, the server can goes down, the region could go down because of natural disaster. So the most important is in our planning, we think about that. All right, suppose something goes down. All right, what we going to do? The most important is automatically. Suppose one server goes down, maybe automatically, and other server comes up, and then some data center goes down. Some in AWS we call it availability zone, or even regions goes down. We have the planning, okay, automatically spin up, or we have some other spare compute resources, servers, database in another region, in another asset to take over. The most important is automatically fail. Sometimes not necessary something fail. Maybe you're doing your business too well, too good. All right, you got a lot of demand, so we need to make our back end ready to scale. All right, elastic. If you got more traffic, more demand, then we scale out, scale out and in. All right, and then scale in to save costs. So anything could happen. Maybe network issue. Maybe somebody did something wrong. So maybe typhoon, tsunami, earthquake, fire. So we need to plan for that. That's also very important in the well architecting framework. And then cost optimization. Cost, of course, is very important. So the most important in the cost area is how can we identify unneeded expenses? Can we do some replacement? And from my experience, actually, a lot of people, a lot of company overlook because they just move to the cloud and then they do the things same way as they do it in an on-prem environment. All right, I see a lot of case over provision. Let's say the storage, the compute resources. Suppose you got web server facing to the internet, and then 24 hours, 7 days a week, the whole year, you keep running those machine, and then yeah, there is cost even if there is no people visit your website, something like that. Use the data transfer often overlooked. So we need to identify what is the unneeded expenses, and could we find some replacement, some cheaper replacement, and then manage service. We will discuss what is managed and unmanaged service. So even if lower cost, we still can perform well and serve your customer, your employees. So next, another pillar, important pillar is related to operational. Think about your application, maybe, or even the mobile application. Every day, every week, we got a lot of updates. The updates could be fixing the bugs, could also be new features. Uh, 10, 15 years ago, the application, web application, it takes months, okay, a quarter, half year in order to release to your customer. But nowadays could be much, much faster because the cloud, okay, the cloud enable us to, let's say the infrastructure as code, we can use code to provision the whole infrastructure. We can update, we can monitor, we can deploy in a much faster place. Okay, so the final pillar is performance efficiency. So make sure that you can adjust the loading, the server to serve your customer. All right, ready to scale. There may be big sales event. Think about Thanksgiving. Think about Christmas. Okay, we may have high demand, and after that, we want to yeah, save costs. All right. And then in AWS, they are very innovative. Almost every 3-4 hours, they got new features announced. So can we adapt the new technology in order to perform faster, maybe cheaper, and maybe even higher security? So this 5 area is the most important when we think about the web architect. So let's take a look on the AWS Global Infrastructure. Get some understanding first. In AWS, we have the terms global infrastructure. If you go to Google search, you can easily find this page, the AWS Global Infrastructure. And then if you go down, you will see some terms, region, availability zone, we call it AC. And then we also see some point of person or the edge location, global. Now we have a lot more other types of deployment, local zone, relative zone. But let's take a look on the 3 core uh, in the global infrastructure: availability zone, region, and then the edge location. And I'm going to show you in a drawing. Okay, so let me do the whiteboard. So if you want to use the AWS service, suppose your storage, your compute resources, first of all, you need to create an AWS account first. So let me just say it here. We create an AWS account. Okay, AWS account. And then after that, you have the region. Okay, let's say this is our region. Okay, nowadays we got 26 region. You better check in the website. Maybe tomorrow they have more. All right. So let's say Virginia, and then Oregon, or even London, Singapore, Tokyo. There are some kind of region. All right. So in a region, it means that AWS got a very large deployment. All right, they got maybe tens of thousands of physical server running. But as a client, as a customer, we don't need to care about the server. All right, so let's keep going. And then in a region, AWS have something called VPC. Okay, let me draw it here. This is VPC. Okay, VPC is actually a service called Virtual Private Cloud, means the networking. All right, and then inside of VPC, actually we have something called the availability zone. Okay, let me draw it here. So we have the availability zone, yeah, let's say 2 availability zone. In each region, there will be at least 2 availability zone. Okay, and some of the region they got 3, 4, 5, 6 availability zone. So we say this is called availability zone. Okay, AZ. All right. So one important thing come back here is that uh, AWS nowadays got more than 200 service, and for features they may have more than 10,000. All right, some service they are outside the region. Okay, let me use this example. Route 53. Let me just use short form. Okay, R53 means Route 53. This is the DNS service. Okay, they are located outside the region, and nowadays we got more than 300 edge location or point of presence. Okay, so the DNS server we use this service could be outside those region in those 300 edge location. And then in AWS, we have another service, CloudFront. Okay, CloudFront is the content delivery network, so that if you distribute your data to the world, maybe you're a broadcast company like Disney Plus, Netflix. All right, your target customer could be the globe. Okay, anywhere in the world. So you can use this to distribute your content to the world. And a lot more. All right. So I just want to say some service they are located in the edge location, or we will say global bind. Okay. And then there are some service they are region bind. Let's say we are going to talk about this later. S3. All right, simple storage service. This is a online storage service, and a lot more features we will discuss a little bit later. And then after that, we also have some other service like DynamoDB. Once again, the short form, sorry, DynamoDB. Okay, they are located in the region. And then in the availability zone, let's say our EC2, the EC2 here, EC2. Let's say we make a web server. Okay, suppose if you just make a web server in a single ASAT, what happens if this ASAT goes down? All right. Some people may think the web server will automatically recover in another availability zone. The answer is no. If you just have one single AZ deployment, okay, the EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud, EC2, because the EC2 is kind of unmanaged service. In AWS, we have the service. Let me write again. Managed, MGNT, okay, and unmanaged, unmanaged. Okay. Actually, EC2 is unmanaged. EC2 is actually the virtual machine. So if the server goes down, okay, you lose your server. So that's why you better have multi-AC deployment. Okay, so if one server goes down, you still have your server up and running. Okay, so this is what we call multi-ASAT deployment. Okay, why we call it availability zone? It is because if the zone goes down, your application, web database still up and running. Okay, so it is for zone failure. So the zone goes down, your application is still available. That's why we call it availability zone. So in order to do it, we make multiple ASAT deployment. So now think about it. If you have 2 web server running in multiple AC, and of course you may have a lot of customer. Okay, let's say this is customer. This is customer. You want to distribute the traffic into multiple web server. What we are going to do, if you are a network guy, you can use the F5. Okay, F5 is load balancer, so that you can load balance the traffic into multiple web server. All right, so web F5 is just a virtual appliance. You can find it in marketplace, AWS partner. But if this server goes down, you lose your load balancer. All right, so in this case, you also need maybe another F5. Okay, because you need to handle the availability. So in that case, unmanaged means if you use load balancer on EC2, could be F5, could be Cisco, could be Citrix SCADA. Okay, so this is kind of unmanaged. All right, so let's do it in another way. Okay, so here we are going to talk about what is managed and unmanaged. Let me just remove this. In AWS, actually, we have another managed service. We call it ELB. Okay, Elastic Load Balancer. So suppose you create the Elastic Load Balancer. Okay, it could be created across availability zone. So this is the ELB. Under the cover, they are still EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud, just like their virtual machine. Okay, but could be deployed across AZ. So if those under the cover EC2 goes down, AWS will create those virtual machine themselves. So the availability is handled by AWS. And not only the availability, also the scalability. Suppose you got more and more traffic comes in, okay, they will scale out. And then if the whole ASI goes down, yeah, you still have the ELB running on in another ASI. So the availability, the maintenance, the patching, you cannot even remote to those machines. Okay, so these are all handled by AWS. This is kind of the managed service. All right, and then let's take a look on another example before we continue. So let's say database. What can you do? Suppose I want Microsoft SQL, Oracle, MySQL. You can create a DB yourself in the EC2. Okay, and then what else you can use is you can create the RDS instance. Okay, the RDS is a managed service. So if you compare the managed service, we can use RDS, relational database service, or you can install the DB on EC2. Once again, on EC2. Okay, so this is two choice. By using RDS, what will happen? Your server talk to the database server. Your client, of course, go to your load balancer, and then automatically distribute the traffic into multiple instances across availability zone. And then for this managed service, you cannot remote to this machine, Windows or Linux. You cannot remote. AWS will handle. You just provision this machine using the API call. And then after that, this RDS will automatically back up data into S3. All right, we will talk about S3 later. So the backup is here. So suppose the RDS goes down, all right, and you can restore the backup. However, if the database is very large, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, it takes hours to restore the database. So what can we do? We just, when we create an instance, or you can do it later, create another one, all right? We call it standby. This is RDS standby. This is RDS master or primary, okay? So they will automatically synchronize the data into another ASAT that's synchronized. And if this guy goes down, what happened? Okay, actually, the secondary become the new primary or master, and then they will automatically. We don't need to do anything. Remove this server, all right, and the endpoint. And the endpoint actually, AWS will move the endpoint. Your application, you don't need to change any code, any connection string, database account password. You don't need to change anything. The endpoint will automatically move to the new primary, okay? And then they will also create another RDS secondary for you, and then synchronize back to this RDS server. So this is what we call managed service. You just focus on your application, your database, rather than the underlying infrastructure. So in this whiteboard, in this diagram, there are a few important concepts. we have global by service, or RDS Cloud Fund is just some example. And then we have region by service, like VPC, Virtual Private Cloud, S3, DynamoDB. And then we have some service, ASAP by, like EC2. All right. And then we have managed and unmanaged service. So this is the key concept for this whiteboard. So let's take a look on some more, and then I'm going to show you in the console. In AWS, of course, we have data center. Okay, as we all know, data center, we got thousands, tens of thousands of server. All right, in this data center, we got a lot of server. They are all online. They are not cold. They are not just for standby. AWS, we have many custom hardware deployed in those data center. But as a client customer, we cannot see the customer. We cannot see the data center. What we can see is just in the console, in the command line, availability zone. Okay, what is the difference between availability zone and data center? Actually, the availability zone is like this. One availability zone is greater than or equal to one data center. So an availability zone could have 3, 4, 5 data center. So it is a much bigger deployment. And then they connect, the data center connect to each other with a very fast private link, a fiber link, all right? But as customer point of view, we just select availability zone, all right? Some service is ASAP buying. Okay, let's say EC2, the virtual machine. I'll show you a little bit later. In AWS, they recommend us to deploy especially the unmanaged service across availability zone. So if one ASIC goes down, the most important is your application, your data still up and running. All right. So this is availability zone. And then the region contain 2 or more availability zone. Nowadays, most region got 3 availability zone or more, because some service they require 3 availability zone. So AWS tend to have the region at least 3 availability zone. And now, if you take a look on the web page is most update. We got 26 instead of 21, 22 regions nowadays. And then you can control the replication across region. Let's say S3, we are going to talk about later. We have a features, we can replicate our data to another region, from Virginia to Oregon, or even to London, Tokyo, something like that. But in the architecting point of view, here we are going to talk about architecting, right? Architecting, we need to think about, is the law allow us to do so? In some country, okay, they do not allow the data leaving the country. Okay, so this is our consideration. If you deploy your web app, database, service, whatever IT infrastructure across availability zone, the cost will be higher. Okay, because you duplicate your storage, you duplicate your resources, and there is data transfer fee between ASAP. Okay, so the cost is higher. So do we need high availability but come with higher cost? This is the architecting point of view. All right, so and between the region, AWS have backbone network connect all together, except a few region. In US, there is government cloud, and then in China, all right, they have 2 region isolated from other. All right, so it's really the politics reason. So this is the global infrastructure, just a map. You can find from the internet a more updated map. Just like this, we have 20 something region. All right, they start their business in Virginia. So here in this region, they got 6 availability zone, and each availability zone may got 3, 5 data center. So really huge deployment here, and you can actually use only one single region or replicate your data. Think about it. Suppose you are a broadcast company. You want to serve the people around the world. Okay, what you can do is you can, let's say, store the movie here for US customer, store the movie here, and store the movie here for the APAC customer. But this is not really good. You duplicate your storage, all right, and then there is a lot of data transfer costs, and then duplicate the storage costs. So in this case, so we don't just focus on region. That's why AWS have the edge location. Nowadays, more than 300 edge location around the world. All right. So what we can do is we only store in US. Okay, the movie. And then for this CDN, AWS, they have this content delivery network. In AWS, we call CloudFront. Okay, CloudFront is just one service in the global infrastructure in the edge location. So suppose your London customer, all right, go to visit the movie, the website, all right, not just the movie, but also think about the static content like the picture, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, something like that. So you can the first time we need to download and cache here. All right, maybe the first guy takes a little bit longer, but the travel could be through AWS Backbone Network, still faster than internet. And then the other people, all right, around the Europe would be able to uh, uh, consume from the edge location. All right, so the user experience is much faster. And then the picture, the movie, the logo, the HTML didn't change at all. So for static data, that's perfect case. So CloudFront is just one example using the edge location. Some others, like I mentioned before, Route 53, and then some service called Shield Web Application Firewall, API Gateway. They could also be global by service. All right. So uh, before I take a look on S3, I would like to show you a little bit demo here first. So in order to use AWS, of course, you need to create an AWS account, your personal information, and then email address. The email address would be the root user inside your AWS account. So he is the king. This credential would be able to touch everything. So after you go to log in your AWS account, and then let's take a look. This is the page when you log in, how it looks like. And if you go to service, there are many services. All right. Nowadays, more than 200 service. And then, of course, you can search from here. Let's say we mentioned root 53, right? Go to this service and take a look. And then you can see for this service, you don't need to select the region. So you can see this is the region. Now you cannot select because Route 53 is a global bind service. If you use this, all right, they are not actually locating inside each any region. So if you click inside, Route 53 is just a DNS service, just like you go to GoDaddy or some other direct NIC, just like this. You can host your DNS in the internet in cloud. Uh, I have my domain name brianwoodemo.com. If you go inside, you can take a look. By default, they give you 4 server. All right. So as you can see here, some name server, DNS name server in UK, and some other maybe in US, and then also Middle East, let's say, or even Asia Pacific. All right. So this is global line service. You don't need to select the region. Okay. And then for other service, we mentioned DynamoDB before. Okay. If we go to the DynamoDB, this is a NoSQL database. What I want to show you is that we need to select the region. Okay, so if you select Virginia, your data will be physically in that region. All right, so this is a region by service. You need to select the region. And then let's say another service called EC2 is just virtual machine, virtual server. And then suppose now I got 3 virtual machine in this region. If you go to click the launch instance, let's say create a new machine. So let's say Linux. I just want to show you here, okay, you need to select the availability zone. Okay, so now in this region, we have 3 availability zone. Maybe the east side of the city, the north side, and then the CBD, all right, something like that. So availability zone means they are normally kilometers away, maybe 50, 80, normally less than 100 kilometers, using fiber link connect together. So if you have multiple ASAT deployment, okay, one ASAT goes down, less likely you have the other ASAT affected. All right. So it depends on AWS will say the region could go down, but yeah, the availability zone is already many kilometers away. So the EC2 is ASAT line surface. That is what I want to talk about. All right. So let's go back here and keep going. Uh, Now we are going to talk about S3. Actually, AWS started their business since 2006. All right, and in that year, they have only 3 service. All right, at the firstly launched cloud, the first I will just say those 3. S3 is one of them. Okay, one of the earliest service provided by AWS. And then we also have the EC2, okay, Elastic Compute Cloud. And then finally, we have SQS. But today we are not going to talk about SQS. EC2 is virtual machine, Elastic Compute Cloud. And then here, S3. Why we call it S3? It is because the name of S3 is Simple Storage Service. Okay, Simple Storage Service. So we got Simple Storage Service. That's why we call it S3. Okay, 3S. Okay, so this is an online storage service at the beginning, but now they have many features. Let's take a look in this service. So S3 is region bind. The first thing you want to store data in S3, you need to create a bucket first. Okay, the bucket, the name must be global unique. Okay, global unique. You cannot have duplicate name with any other AWS customer. And then after you create a bucket, an AWS account, you can create 100 bucket. Okay, that's the limit. All right. So and then after that, you can put your object. Okay, object just like the file. Could be video, could be document, could be audio, could be any file. All right. So this is object storage. And then S3 is a managed service designed for a very high durability. What does that mean? As many people often mix up the durability and then the availability. Availability, let's say 99.99%. It means that in, let's say, a whole day or whole month, okay, you got less than 0.01% that you cannot use the service. Okay, maybe in a whole month, maybe just a few minutes. So what you can do is you retry a little bit later. We don't say 100%. Okay, most of the time you can use S3, you can upload, you can download, but sometimes if you fail to do so, wait for a few seconds, retry. That's availability. And what is durability? Durability, as you can see here, we got 11 line, very high durability. Okay, let me say it in another way. You got 0.0001% chance that you will lose your data. Okay, so we do the calculation. If you upload 10,000 object or files, okay, in a million year, you may lose one. Okay, why we have such high durability? It is because we mentioned availability zone before. Remember, uh, your data upload to S3 using console command line, they will spread, actually duplicate under the cover. Okay, you don't need to do anything. When you upload a file, the file will be replicated across at least 3 copies across ASAT. Okay, so if one ASAT goes down because of anything, fire, tsunami, any earthquake, or power supply or electricity problem, whatever, you still got another copy, okay, in another ASAT. Okay, 2 ASAT goes down, you still got a copy. If you really are afraid, you can replicate the data into another region. Okay, could be thousands kilometers away. Okay, but this is the features. By default, your data will be replicated across the availability zone. So that's why it's very high durability. And then S3 is event trigger, event driven. What does that mean? Nowadays, think about when you do something in your mobile phone application. Let's say you call Uber, all right, you Airbnb, whatever, order the food. Okay, so everything happened automatically without human intervention. All right, so you immediately get the notification your credit card is charged. Okay, the Uber, the driver already going to you, and then the hotel room Airbnb already booked for you, reserved for you. So this is kind of event driven. Okay, so think about it. Suppose you have the front end, maybe web application, maybe the microservice. This is just front end. Your customer, all right, talk to the front end, all right, and then they place order, and then the order store in S3, and then S3, oh, if something upload, we call it object created event, and then automatically we do something. Okay, maybe some compute resources, yeah, process the order, and then the notification service send the email to the customer. All right, something like that. Everything happen automatically. We call it event trigger. All right, so let's take a look on what S3 could help us to solve. There are many problems people face. So first of all, that's some use case. We learn from the use case. Actually, just store the content. All right, just like many streaming company do. Store the media. Could be video, could be the logo, the picture, the audio. All right, and S3 we can also add as the static website. Okay, I'll show you a little bit later. So what we need to do in S3 is we create a bucket first. Okay, the name must be global unique, and then this is the URL. But if you're using other region, let's say Oregon, let's say Tokyo, yeah, the name may be longer, right? Because if you just use s3.amazon, aws.com, it means Virginia. Any other region, you have a relatively longer name. Let's say Singapore is APAC Southeast 1. Let's say Oregon, you have a US West 2, something like that. So you got a longer name, but you got a URL for all the object. All right, so bucket name, and then you can upload your object. Could be video, could be audio. Okay, actually, your handout download from GoToWebinar, you can see the URL is something like that. It's actually using AWS S3. Okay, so after that, let me just show you a demo. Suppose, let me go to S3. This is the simple. Oh, let me log in again. All right, so this is S3. I've got some bucket. The name must be global unique. Let's say I create a bucket. Suppose I say test. Okay, region by, we need to select the region. Okay, just any region. All right, and later on we will talk about how we are going to select the region. Okay, and then in the architecting point of view, so we got a lot of features. We will talk about these features a little bit later. So if I click create bucket, there is error. Okay, it already exists. The name test is used by some other people, other customer. All right, other AWS customer. So if I type something not acceptable. Here you can see we do not support uppercase, at least 3. So if you got anything wrong, then here will display to you. Let's say I'm going to use binary bucket 2. Okay, this name is already used by me. All right, so you need to create some unique name, global unique, and then the object ownership. All right, by default, all the object is owned by the AWS account. Of course, the root user, the email address, would be able to touch everything. However, we can create dedicated admin. In AWS, we call IAM user, okay, Identity Access Management user. So you can grant you can also grant from AWS account or grant to public. Let me just show you how now. By default, the data the bucket block all public access. It means that only the owner would be able to see this content. All right. Anything in the world, any people in the world would not be touched. All right. So it means that if some data in S3 may be storing some confidential data, phone number, credit card number, personal data, PI data. Okay, if those data disclosed to the world, must be somebody did something wrong. Because by default, we don't allow public access. Okay, so I just keep it default. Versioning, we will talk about that. Tagging is absolutely important, but we will talk about that later. We can have encryption, but by default, it didn't turn on. And then we have some other features. Let me just create this bucket. And then let me upload something into this bucket. This is binary bucket 3. And then let me just upload a photo. Okay, you can find from here, or you can just drag. Now I got a photo, just a cheetah. Okay, so when you upload a photo, all right, or any other file, and then to this destination, and if you go down, you can see the permission, but by default is block. Okay, block public access. And S3, let me talk a little bit here. We got different tier. It is related to pricing. Okay, by default is standard. If we go to AWS S3 pricing, let's talk a little bit on pricing because cost is also important in one of the pillar in the well architecting framework. So first of all, you need to select the region. Let's say Virginia. All right. For S3 standard, okay, take a look on storage price. Is 0.023. All right. If you select another region, let's say Tokyo, okay, the price may change. Tokyo is a little bit higher, the price than US. Normally, if the cost is lower, AWS charge you less. Okay, that's just very simple. And AWS will not increase the price. Okay, actually from 2006 to today, they reduced many service the price more than 100 times. Okay, because economic of scale, they got more and more servers, bigger and bigger environment, the cost lower, and then they charge you lower. All right, so it is often the case that you receive email, something, the price drop, something like that. So as you can see, this is the standard. And if you go down, you can see something like in frequent access. And you can see that the price is much lower. Okay, the storage cost is lower. Okay, almost half. And if you go to some other tier, Glacier, Deep Archive, okay, it's really cheap. If you take a look and do some calculation, 0.00099, what does that mean? It means that if you store a terabyte data, okay, for a month, okay, you only pay $1. Okay, for a month for 1 terabyte data. I don't think you can buy a hard disk with that cost. This is really cheap. But the consideration as architecting point of view, we come back here, and then we will understand. As you can see, standard, okay, you don't have minimum duration and minimum size. Your data will be replicate across the 3 copy across AZ. All right. So what does that mean? If I upload the data 2 hours and then I delete it, I will only be charged for that 2 hour. All right, proportionally. All right. However, if you select IA, okay, infrequent access, uh, it's cheaper, as we saw it before, 40 something% discount, and then you have minimum storage and duration and size. All right. Let's say you store 2 day and delete it, you still need to pay for whole month. If you have, I really see this a lot. Some customer, they got a lot of small file, 1 KB, 2 KB, and then they put it in infrequent access, and then you every single object you are charged for 128K. So you are overpaying for more than 100 times. All right. So as architecting point of view, infrequent access could be cheaper, but there is consideration. And Glacier, as you can see, deep archive, the minimum duration is almost half year. All right. So this is your consideration. Not just storage. Actually, for S3, you have the price, the cost for retrieval. If you take a look, you can actually go to this website and take a look. And then for retrieval price, every time you upload and download, there is cost on it. All right. Although it is very cheap. Okay, you can see 0.30 and 4 per 1,000 requests. So a million requests, just 40 cents. All right, a million object that you download get. Okay. However, if you take a look on infrequent access, uh, you move it to infrequent access, the price is more than double. All right. So if you put it in infrequent access and keep download, upload, end up it could be more expensive than standard. So that's why as architecture, okay, cloud architect, we need to consider, is our data upload download very frequent? All right. Are we going to just archive? Do we need to access those data? All right. So to choose which tier we should go to. All right. So that's the architecting point of view. Let's come back to my demo. I just put it in standard and then keep going and upload. And then after that, yeah, the picture. If you go inside, you can see there is the URL. All right. If I just copy this URL and then paste here, okay, I cannot access because it is just like the public use the browser to access this object. As I mentioned before, public access is not allowed by default. All right. So if I click this button, open, rather than just copy the URL, because when I click this button, it remember this is me. All right, the credentials, the user, and if this user have permission, let's take a look. You can see, you can take a look on the photo. All right, you can download your object. All right, so that's S3. And suppose I really want to disclose this content to the world. All right, maybe really the static object, company logo, the movie for our customer. All right. So what can we do? How can we do it? Okay, let's take a look on something related to permission. Okay, so if we go to this bucket, and then there are many uh, button. Okay, and many features. So go to permission. All right, and then you can see this is the button that I set the default setting before. Block all public access. So in order to allow this content disclose to the world, there are a lot of settings you need to configure. All right, so that yeah, we have a lot of running. We need to accept a lot of settings. So let's go inside and take a look. First of all, in the bucket, I remove the block all public access, and then there is warning. All right, you really want to do so? Then I confirm. And then after that, let's go back to the object. All right, for the object, okay, there is also permission. Okay, and enforce the ownership, something like that. And here, I need to disable. All right, let me take a look. The access control list in the bucket level. Yeah, here. Yeah, here. This is still bucket level. And if we go down, we need to set the ownership, enable the access control list. Okay, nowadays a lot more settings. And another warning. Okay, and then after that, we go back to the picture. And then, oh, now I can edit the access control list. Before, the access control list also disabled so that nobody can change it. Okay, and then let me allow to everyone another warning. All right, so after all this, if I copy this URL, and then finally I could be able to access using a public, just like your customer, okay, access your content. So there are many settings you need to go through in order to allow to the world. All right, so let's go back to take a look on the slide. And after I talk maybe 15 more minutes, we will have a short break. Okay, so S3 by default, as we mentioned, only the owner would be able to access. Anyone else could not touch it. That's the default settings. All right, the private bucket. In order to make it public, I need to accept, change a lot of settings. All right, so you can make just like what I did to the public. But in many cases, we don't want to disclose to the public. Maybe we use some policy, allow some people, maybe their financial department would be able to touch it, and then sales department, marketing department, they cannot touch our financial reports, something like that. All right, so we can set policy, and there are many policy that you can set. Actually 5. Let's take a look. First of all, if you go back to permission, block all public access means block the world to touch it. All right, and then access control list. I just changed the access control list. However, the access control list, as you can see, it's not so granular. All right, you can allow to public, you may allow to another AWS account. All right, but we cannot say Peter, Mary would be able to touch. John could not touch, could touch. So in order to set very granular settings, we can use bucket policy. Okay, bucket policy, actually we use JSON document. All right, so here you can select, you can define, let's say which time, or maybe office hour, you can touch it. After office hour, you cannot touch it. All right, and then you can limit the IP address, maybe the IP address from your company. All right, not from your home. You can also limit the users group, and then also the device type. Maybe you allow Android but not iPhone, something like that. Okay, so it is very granular by using the access control, the bucket policy. All right, you can also limit by time. All right, so and then cross origin resources sharing. Here we allow other website, all right, to download. So this is cross domain, normally not for human but for other domain, in order to get the object. Think about it. Even if you create, let's say, the web application in your on-prem environment, traditionally everything you serve your customer is inside your server. Now maybe the static content from S3. All right, So when people click this link, instead of my server send the data, the video, audio, picture to your customer, they download from S3. Okay, it is exactly the case that in this webinar, when you download the handout, you take a look at the URL is from S3. All right, so this is something like that. So you got a wide range of permission in order to allow, deny people to access. Okay, very granular. And then this is just example. In the policy, we can set allow and deny. We can allow principal, which user, all right, or star means actually everybody, all right. And then what you can do, and the action here is actually the API call. I need to say that everything happen in your AWS account is API call. The API call could come from console, could come from also command line SDK. All right, so as you can see, action wildcard star means actually you can do everything. You can create bucket. If this is in general, all right, you can create bucket API call, download something, upload something, list something, and instead of all bucket, you can set resources. Only this bucket, and then we can add the condition. Let's say this IP only, all right, or not this IP, all right. So could be very granular by using the JSON document. And then another use case is static website. So as you can see, we can make the website by using EC2. All right. Yeah, the audio, the HTML, all from here. Actually, I can show you a demo here. Let me go to EC2. Yeah, if I go to EC2, and then this machine, that's the IP address. If you can access the internet, you can go together with me. All right, so this IP address 13.212.8.72. All right, so as long as you can access the internet, you can visit this web server. All right, and actually this web server, let me show you, is using Windows. All right, this is the machine in AWS Cloud, the EC2. So I just use, if you're a Windows guy, the IS, all right, and then the web page is here, okay, from this machine. All right, you can use this machine to host a static website. Static means we don't have the server-side programming language like PHP, Python, Ruby, Java. We just have HTML, okay, and then we have some picture and we have video. All right, so this static website, if you use EC2 virtual machine, it is possible to host it. You are going to pay every single second. Okay, even if at night no people visit your website, you still being charged every single second. Okay, however, we can do this by using S3. All right, so let me show you here. I already make a static website. Just here I show you. That's actually the features from S3 as well. So I also use the DNS name buyandwoodammo.com. Okay, and I just create a record S3 web. If you visit this website, you can do it now or later. So as you can see, the video is here, the picture is there, and the HTML is here. And if I go to this website, the color is a little bit different to identify where you reach. It's similar, all right? So you use S3 to host this website, static website. Actually, when there is no request, you don't need to pay for the request pricing. Of course, the storage you need to pay, but the storage is super cheap. You can take a look on the pricing. I can say it could be much cheaper and much highly available comparing with you use EC2. Think about if you use just one EC2, it goes down, the song goes down. you lose your server. All right. So that's another features provided by S3, hosting static website or just static content. All right. So it is your choice. And then let's take a look on this one, and then we will take a short break. Uh, Versioning. All right. What is versioning? Think about, uh, as I mentioned, because your data already distributed across ASET, it is very safe. If one ASET goes down, you still have your data. Okay. How about if just some junior admin, all right, cloud admin, all right, and then did something wrong? Maybe he got permission. All right, this is related to access control. I do something wrong. Human can do something wrong. Accidentally delete the file. All right, actually, all right, this delete API will also delete the others. Okay, the copy. So everything gone. So this is delete. Not only delete but also override. Let's say before I have a picture 1.jpg. Okay, and then I override another exactly the same name. All right, 1.jpg. Okay, and then if I upload, okay, and then the original gone. All right, so uh, then you do something wrong, you lose your data. All right, so by default, the versioning is off. But what we can do is we can enable the versioning. Okay, so let's take a look. What does that mean? When you enable the versioning, when you do some delete, it is just marker, delete marker. Actually, we have version 1 and version 2. You can always uh, restore the version 1. Okay, but as architecting point of view, uh, you accidental delete, you override, you can get back the earlier version. As architecting point of view, if you keep deleting and then override, you got more and more version. So your storage cost goes up. All right. And then we need to do something to remove the earlier version. Okay. We should say we can use the lifecycle policy in order to remove uh, the earlier version by days. Okay. By if they uh, keep for 180 day, a year, and then remove those earlier version. You can set something like that. So let me demo to you this versioning. Go back to my console. Go back to the cheater. All right. So now I still have the cheater. Uh, let's say I don't need to delete it. Okay. Let me just enable the versioning first. If you go to properties, okay, and then you can see bucket versioning. All right. You see by default, the versioning is disabled. All right. So if I go inside and enable the versioning, all right. After that, enabled, and you can see there is a new button, show version. Okay. Without this, without enable the versioning, you cannot see this button. Okay. Let's say what happened if I really accidentally delete this version, this file. All right, and then gone. However, you can see show versions. And if you click here, you can see this is just delete marker. All right. The most important here is that you can get back your previous version. All right. In order to, uh, yeah, retrieve some data, previous data, people accidentally delete or override. Okay. So this is versioning. As we mentioned before, we have a wide range of method in order to set permission. For setting the permission, we can use this one, CORS, cross origin resources sharing. Okay, so it means that my S3 bucket allow other domain in order to visit, maybe not from people, human, but from other domain, other website. So as you can see, also we use the JSON-like format here. Okay, you can see actually I allow example.com to put post delete. all right, and then all others may be able to just get, all right. So we allow other website to download other domain to use our S3 service, all right. So this is the cross-origin resource sharing, the permission. Okay, so another example of S3 is we can actually store anything. But one thing to remind that S3, the target customer is not really end user. Okay, so if the end user, okay, they cannot easily use S3 because they need AWS account, they need to use the API call. That's why since the introduce of S3 in 2006, a lot other company, all right, write the front end. Let's say I can name this. Actually, the company name that I mentioned, you can find it in case study. Let me go here, AWS case study. Okay, you can take a look and search for more if you want. So if you go to AWS case study, AWS, of course, they got more than millions of customer. All right, but we got more than 2,000 success story. Okay, let's say Dropbox, something like that. Okay, you can find Dropbox. Okay, the case study. Uh, I can say they originally, when they start doing the business, they use a lot of AWS, and then after certain years, they try to leave AWS, okay, and build their own data center, and then find that it is very hard to handle so many servers, so many data center, and they come back to AWS again. You can take a look on some case study from here, and a lot other example. Yeah, even Apple, all right, we use the AWS, okay, and then you can store anything, media. You can actually, in the case study, find Netflix, Laza, something like that. Even some government, Clickstream, many game company also use AWS. All right, and then financial data. All right, so it's just object storage. Store your object. Okay, and then later on you can analyze. All right, and another key point for using S3 is backup. Okay, think about it. Suppose you have, sorry, come back here. The on-prem data center. All right. Maybe you can back up your data to S3 by using the console or use command line. And actually, I will say use the command line is much better. Okay, because there are a lot more features by using command line. Later on, we will talk about the multi-pack upload. But let's come back here. So before your on-prem data center, you may back up into something like NAS. Okay, just an equipment hardware, all right, or your home. You can also you at home you can back up to it. Think about it. uh One earthquake, fire, everything gone. All right, so it is better for us to back up to S3 because it is very cheap. All right, I can say personally, okay, many years before I back up my data, okay, maybe the photo together with family, many other personal data, all right, into many years before I burn it into DVD, but after a few years I cannot read those data, and then yeah, I really tried NAS, okay, buy the box and then set RAID 5, okay, I feel very safe at that moment. Free hard disk, okay, RAID 5, and I personally face at the same time two of the three hard disks yeah got damaged, and then I lose the data. And starting from many years before I start using AWS, and then now I just upload my data, backup my data in S3 using one single command. All right, one single command, more than 200 gig data. It takes a little bit more than 1 hour. Okay, and then I just through the internet. Actually, if you are a corporate, you can use the direct connect private link. Okay, so This is perfect because the data already I got multiple copy. Okay, so the chance for me to lose the data is very, very low. I just back up personally, or you can add as your company. Okay, your company can also back up data to S3. There are many, many methods to do so. And then not just your on-prem, but also in AWS. Suppose your EC2, your virtual machine, do we need to back up those machines? Yeah, if yes, then you can back up to S3. And a lot other database, like we mentioned, RDS, DynamoDB, when you back up the data, they also go to S3. All right. The other database, Redshift, but later on we will talk about something called decouple. Uh, in cloud, we better don't store the data in the virtual machine because there are many, many storage service we can store somewhere else, so that uh, at night maybe we can terminate those or all machine, all right, in order to save costs. Okay, so in architecting point of view, we can do something like that. Okay, so uh, let's take a short break now. Let's say 8 minutes, and then let me set the timer. And after that, after this short break, we will come back and continue. Okay, let's continue. Before we were here, all right, and then uh, next, how we are going to move data into S3. What I just showed you before in the demo is using the console, okay, to create a bucket and then upload through the console. But actually, that's not a good way to do so. Uh, I will say in S3, we can upload unlimited number of objects, unlimited size in total. However, there is only a single limitation. One single file could be up to 5 terabyte. I actually got some customer, they got the files more than that, so they need to split it themselves first. Yeah, that's the limitation. However, if you just use console, the maximum file for a maximum size for a file is 160 GB. All right. Uh, we better use command line or SDK to do so. Because by using command line, they will automatically use a features called multi-pack upload. Okay, divided your file into multi-packs and then parallel upload to AWS. All right. And a lot more features. Let's take a look on the command line. No matter you use console, command line, or SDK, if you're a developer writing your application, you likely interact with the AWS with the SDK. No matter which method you use, these are all API call. Okay, you can use the console, the web page, to make this API call, or use command line SDK. And then, yeah, just how it interact. Let me show you in another demo. So in this case, I need to get back my terminal. So let me just make it larger. So my computer, I'm using Mac. Actually, I install the AWS CLI, so I can use AWS Help. All right. So this is the command line. If you use AWS Help, you can see. If you don't know the command, you can actually find from here. But as you all know, AWS got many services, more than 200. So the list is very long. And then you can see S3 here. All right. And then if I don't know any AWS command or S3, but I highly recommend you join some training in order to learn that. That is more efficient. AWS S3 help, and then you can see in S3 command, I'm going to use command line. We can use this CP means copy, list, make bucket, something like that. However, in order to do that, we need permission. So AWS configure, you see I have the AK SS key, and then secure SS key, and then which region I'm going to interact with. We need credentials. Just a quick view to show you related to credentials. So I go to another service called IAM. In this IAM service, and then let me go to, I remember should be this user. Let's take a look. And then take a look on the key, A7I2. I think it's this one. Okay. So A7I2. So I'm using this key, and this key depends on the permission. Now I have, just like the JSON document we talk about in the bucket policy. Oh, actually, this guy got every right. Okay. Allow star means every permission. Okay. I can make any API call. So normally you shouldn't use that, but in my demo, actually it doesn't matter. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use command line to interact with the S3, the AWS my account. So AWS S3 list, it is just the same as what we did using the console. Okay, let me just do some API call to interact. I can make bucket. Okay, instead of just list, let's say S3 Brian Wu bucket 4. All right. So as long as you have permission, of course I have, because this key got most privilege. And then after that, AWS S3 list. Okay, I can have this bucket. Okay, create by the command. Of course, if I have permission, I can remove it. Remove bucket, and then list again. The bucket is gone. Okay, so you can use command line. As I mentioned before, myself and a lot of my customer use one single command, and they keep upload uh, data into S3. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, yeah, here. Okay, so SDK, yeah, for developer, how you are going to develop. Let me just give you an example. Uh, some of my customer, they develop mobile application. If the mobile application is using 3G network, then they will cut the file smaller, maybe 10 megabyte, 20 megabyte, a single part upload to S3. But if they connect to wireless 5G, then could be 100, 200 for a single part. All right, so for developer, you can think about this when you develop your application. This is just one example. And we just mentioned multi-part upload. By using console, it will happen, by using command line, it will happen automatically. A big file divided into small part and parallel upload to S3. For SDK, you can control how your application upload to S3. And then after every single part finish, you can see your object. And what if one single part you always stop at 99%? Okay, so in this case, you cannot view the whole object. Okay, but you are paying for almost the whole size of the file. Okay, you are being charged for the multi-part, but pay for nothing because your object is not finished. All right, but you just pay for the part. So in this case, we can use the life cycle policy in order to remove the incomplete part. All right, so let me show you in the console. Remember, when you do the multi-part upload, we better set this option. So go back to the bucket and then go to management. Okay, later on we will talk a little bit, but let me show you here first. The lifecycle policy, lifecycle rules is another features of S3. Actually, here we can configure a few settings. Of course, you can give a name, let's say test, and then prefix. Prefix is actually similar to folder. Okay, let me talk a little bit on this first. If I go back to S3, inside the bucket, all right, you can click this button. Okay, everybody know what is a folder. So you can create a folder, let's say folder 1, all right? It doesn't matter. Okay, the name. So you can store the data in the folder 1. But I'm going to say that this folder is not a folder. Okay, in AWS S3, this is distributed storage. This is not a file system. Okay, like NTFS, Linux file system. No, this is a distributed storage. The file you upload, even if you got billions of file, okay, inside this bucket, all right, they are very flat. All right, we don't have folder structure, so this is just prefix. Okay, before your picture, picture1.jpg is called picture1.jpg. Now, if you put it in this folder, so-called folder, now the picture is called folder1/picture1. All right, it's just like this. All right, so this is not really a folder. a very important concept related to S3. So here you can select prefix. By using prefix, you can target just a small proportion of data rather than every single object inside the S3. So you can set something like that. Tagging. Let me talk a little bit on tagging, and then we can keep going. Tagging is just we give some information, okay, to those resources. You can use any tag. Many people use, let's say, uh, environment name, production, testing, development, and you can use account, department, sales, HR, something like that. So application 123 project ABC, something like that. Tagging is really important in AWS. Why? Because we can use tagging to set permission. All right, and we can use tagging to stop or even terminate the resources. When and You can also use tagging to make cost report. Okay, how much in the same single AWS account, how much project A spent. Okay, we can use tagging to do so. And for the security point of view, we better don't have anything running and for nothing. Okay, why did I say that? Think about if a developer create a test machine, okay, have public access to the internet, and then after he finish, and then maybe he leave the company. Okay, if a single machine without any tagging up and running in your on-prem data center, it doesn't matter. It may use a little bit more CPU memory, but in cloud, every single second you are paying for that. And if that machine have internet access, maybe this machine can, yeah, got some virus or ransomware, and it may affect others. All right, so the best practice in the architecting point of view, in the security pillar, we should tag everything. No objects shouldn't be tagged. We shouldn't have any object without tagging. All right, the tagging is that important. Let's come back to this point. Life cycle policy. Okay, you can see I can move before we talk about our S3 object. We have multiple classes. Okay, after let's say 1 month, and then I move it to infrequent access, and then after this is some other classes, Glacier after 1 year. All right, and then I move to Glacier. Okay, something like that. Instead of manually move it, okay, I can use this policy. One thing to remind that Glacier, we don't have immediate access. All right, we need to wait the file back to S3. S3. So, and then before we talk about the incomplete part, right? So here you can see the option. Okay, suppose you upload the file using the multi-part upload, 99% success, and the last one, no matter what reason, would not be able to success, then you are paying for those objects actually for nothing, because this is not a complete object. So you can use the policy, delete the incomplete part after how many days. We should do that. Okay, if you use SDK or command line to upload those files. All right, so this is the features provided by S3 again. Okay, let's go back to my PowerPoint. Okay, so this is multi-part upload. And then another features is called transfer accelerator. What does that mean? Uh, S3 actually is region bind. It may locate in US, but maybe your client, okay, use the front end, the application to upload the photo, the audio, the video. It is so often, uh, think about the social media application. All right, they use the front end and then upload to S3. So if they upload through the internet, okay, it may take a very, very long time. All right, let's say maybe you have client in Australia, all right, upload data into S3. So what we can do is we can use these features, S3 transfer acceleration. Okay, by default, this feature is off. when you enable this feature, you will have another URL for you to upload. Let me show you in the console. Let me go back here. If I go to this bucket and then properties, go down, and then you can see transfer acceleration. Okay, we are talking about this one. And then by default is disabled. If I click this edit button and enable, and then you can see there is another URL for you. So your application, your customer use this URL to upload, and what happened is that they will go to the close edge location. Remember, we got more than 300 edge location in the world. All right, so just a small portion go to internet, and then after that they go through AWS backbone. Personally, I tried myself upload to far away, okay, another continental. All right, it could be 1/3 or 1/4 of the time comparing with uh, the the internet one. All right, so that's this, but there is additional charge on that. You need to take a look on the pricing. You pay more, but faster. Okay, much faster to upload those data. That's another features provided by S3. Suppose you have really a lot of data, okay, upload to S3. We really help some university to upload 75 terabyte data to AWS. Okay, so we don't want to use the internet. After doing the calculation, it takes more than 2 months. Okay, upload through the internet. So in that case, we might use Slowball or even Slowmobile. Okay, Slowball, we say petabyte scale, but actually in one single Slowball, around 100 terabyte. So if you really have 1 petabyte, you may need to order a few Slowball. Okay, so you do it in console, you order, they ship this device to you. It takes a few days, and then after that, this device you can use wireless, but of course it is better for you to plug the cable into your server and then use the 10 gig network upload to this box. So it takes a few days, and then they ship back to AWS. In the whole journey, it takes around 2 or 3 weeks. Of course, there is charge on that, a few hundred US dollar. So just 2 or 3 weeks, your data is moved to S3. And then Snowmobile is much bigger. Actually, yeah, it equals to maybe 100 or 1,000 Snowball. All right, for movie making company, they transfer really a lot of data to AWS. You can use this service. And now we have a new thing called slow cone. Okay, slow cone is just a few uh, terabyte. Okay, maybe 2 or 4 terabyte, something like that. Okay, depends on the region. So there is another family, another member in the Snow family. So let's take a look on the charge. Sorry, how should we use S3 first? For S3, it is better for us to use as read once and read many. Okay, and then spiky access, sometimes more, sometimes less, and then a large amount of user. Okay, growing data set. This is the perfect case. And S3, we call it object storage. Okay, it is not ideal for block storage. Block storage is, I would say, just disk drive. Okay, what is block storage? In AWS, we got another service called EBS. EBS is actually the disk drive for EC2. We mentioned before we have EC2, and then for EC2, the virtual machine, they have the disk, right? The disk is actually the EBS volume. Okay, so what's the difference? Okay, let's take a look a little bit different between S3 and EBS. They are both storage service. All right, S3 is online object storage. So suppose you have a 10 gig file. Okay, you want to update. All right. In order to update the data in S3, actually we upload again. Okay, we just issue the HTTP get, put, post, to upload, get to download. So even if you got 1 meg changes in your file, you need to upload the whole file again. We cannot directly edit the file in S3. However, EBS is block storage. Suppose your disk is 10 gig, you can directly edit that single meg. All right, so this is the disk drive. And in order to access the data in S3, we need internet connection or direct connect, private connection. In order to access data in the disk drive, we need EC2. All right, so that's the difference. That's the block storage. So frequent change data, we better not use S3 because we got request price. Okay, if they are structured data, think about RDS. If they are semi-structured data, we'll think about the RDS. Okay, for long-term archive, so in this case, we should use the S3 Glacier. Originally, Glacier is another service, but since I think 2 or 3 years before, already moved into a tier in S3. So long-term archive, we should use Glacier. And then talk about the cost. Of course, we can go back and refer to the pricing page from AWS. But in general, let me say it in general, the major drive of the cost, there are 3 parts. The first part is always storage. I'm not just saying S3. I'm saying every single AWS service. Okay, if you're using database, the storage. If you're using EC2, the EBS volume that you provision, okay, not you use, is provision size. Okay, suppose you provision 200 gig and you only use 30 gig, you pay for 200 gig. Okay, so storage is one drive, and then the other one is we call it process or request. Okay, process. What's the meaning? If you're using EC2, it's the uptime of your machine. If you are using S3, it's the get, list, put, post, delete, those command. All right. So the request price, I should say request price is better. Okay. The request price, and then move the data. When you move the data between region to internet, okay, you are going to pay for that. Okay, but normally we only pay for data transfer out, but not in. Okay, so if you back up your data to S3 from on-prem, the data transfer, you don't need to pay for that. However, if you restore, there is cost on that. So let's take a look in this page. We pay for GB per month. That's the storage price. Data transfer out is the move part. And then put, copy, post list, that's the request price. So you don't need to pay for data transfer in. However, data transfer out, if they're in the same region, let's say to EC2 or to CloudFront, you also you don't need to pay for that. But for details, always go back and check the latest document, the pricing document from AWS website. Okay, so Glacier nowadays is a tier inside S3. Actually, originally Glacier is another product, but many customers think this is kind of a tier in S3. That's why AWS move it into S3 family. So what is Glacier? Glacier is for long-term archive storage, very, very low cost. As I mentioned, in Virginia, $1, you can store 1 terabyte per month. Okay, you cannot even buy hard disk there. However, there are some requirements related to Glacier. Okay, if you're using deep archive, you must store 180 days, and you also will not have immediate access for those data. Okay, so that's very ideal for long-term archive. Just think about it is similar to your tape, okay, in your on-prem data center. Okay, so many company back up those data into tape drive, something like that. So let's take a look on Glacier. What we should do is in Glacier, we create the vault, all right, and then optionally you can create the vault log. Normally this is for compliance. We can set, let's say, the data keep for 3 years, all right, and if you enable this vault log, it means that it is immutable. Even if you are the owner, all right, you cannot unlock these settings. The data must keep for 3 years. Okay, after you enable the vault log, all right. So it is for many countries, they have the compliance requirement, the requirement like this. Okay, so it is immutable, unchangeable. But when you enable the lock, you got 24 hours in order to actually lock the data, lock the policy. All right, so this is Glacier. Archive. Okay, so if you want to retrieve those data, yeah, you need to wait. Originally, we need to wait for 3 to 5 hours. All right, but yeah, since AWS keep improving, now we have choice. Okay, when you restore the data, suppose I really need to get back those data uh, much faster, quicker. Okay, what can we do? Okay, originally there is standard retrieval. Okay, 3 to 5 hours. So if you want to retrieve those data in minutes, okay, you can use explicit retrieval, but the cost is much higher. All right. In other words, you can pay for retrieval time. So in this case, you can get back your data in minutes. Okay, but you still don't have immediate access. All right. Bulk retrieval up to 12 hours, but this is the cheapest. Once again, let's take a look on the pricing. Also listed in the pricing. So data transfer, you can take a look here. And then this is what we call retrieval. If you go to down there here, Glacier, okay, retrieval. For standard, you pay for this amount, 0.05. And then for explicit, you see, it's $10. It's much more expensive than standard. And bulk, you don't need to pay for that. All right, so take a look on the pricing. You can pay for the retrieval time, okay, nowadays. But a few years before, you don't have choice. You need to wait for hours. Now, S3, we got many tiers, okay? So by default is standard, but you can move to IA infrequent access. The storage cost will be much lower. However, the retrieve pricing will be higher. One zone, there is only one single copy in one single availability zone. So the key point is, if we, in the architecting point of view, if we use this tier, make sure that we can easily reproduce those data. Okay, because we got only one copy. If this copy goes down loose, you lose your data. Okay, the price is cheaper than the standard IA. You got immediate access. However, you got one single copy. Amongst all the tier, only this one have only single one copy. Okay, so Glacier, as we mentioned before, much cheaper and deep archive, very cheap. However, you need to store 180 day. Okay, so this is the consideration. And then, as I mentioned, we can use life cycle policy. We don't want to move the object manually myself because you may have million or even billions of objects. So what we can do is we set the policy as I showed you before. Maybe for the first month, you frequent upload, download. Then we keep it in standard. After a month, we move it to infrequent access, and then after 2 months, we keep in Glacier for 1 more year, and then automatically delete it after that. We can also remove those previous version in complete path, all right, by using the lifecycle policy. So these are some features from S3. Actually, not all. If I show you a little bit more, go back to the bucket, and we got some other features like we can replicate our data into to another region. All right, from Virginia to London. All right, it is possible to do that. But by doing so, your cost is higher because you got 2 copy and you also have data transfer. All right, so think about the cost. So go back to the architecting point of view. Reliability, you replicate the data to another region, you have high reliability. However, the cost is higher. Okay, so that's the consideration. Do we need to do that? So next, how can we choose the region? Okay, so 4 points. Okay, to choose the region. This is from well architecting point of view. The first point is always law, governance. Okay, so some country, if you are a registered company, your data must stay inside the country. Okay, one example is German. All right, that's why AWS built the Frankfurt region, because in certain industry in their country, the data must stay in country. So in this case, you cannot replicate your data to another country, another region. Otherwise, you break the law. Okay, so the law is always the first consideration. And the second consideration is, do we have that service available? All right. I will say not every region got all the service. In order to take a look, you can go to this area, AWS region table. You can search like this. Okay, AWS region table. So if you take a look on the first link, these are all the 26 region. Okay, we also the China region is not here, but the government cow is here. So here you can see, let's say Virginia. All right, there are many service. Let me just use those that we discussed before. We have discussed slow ball, slow mobile, okay, and then slow cone. Slow cone is a smaller device. So we got all. However, if you go to some region in Asia Pacific, let's say Hong Kong, all right, and if you search snow again, only slow ball. All right, so I'm saying that not every single region we got all the service. Okay, so we need to take a look on the region table. If we want to use that service in those region, they are not available, then we cannot use it, right? So the first, second consideration. The third is latency. Okay, latency. And then fourth is cost. And the upcoming slide, we are going to just repeat all this. This 4 consideration, latency and cost. As I showed you before, let's take a look on cost first. Storing data in Virginia is cheaper than storing data in Tokyo. Okay, so if you, in your architecting point of view, here we are talking about well architect, right? If you want the cost lowest, all right, you should store in Virginia. However, if you have some customer consume your data from Europe, from Tokyo, their latency is higher, right? So how can we measure the latency? There are many methods. Some of them is very dynamic, but I like this one. If you have internet access, you can try it together with me. You can use cloudping.info. By going to this website, cloudping.info, and then you press this button, and then it will immediately, okay, detect your computer going to different AWS region. All right, so let's say now in my area, I go to Virginia, 200 millisecond, and then some other, all right, the latency is lower. So go back to here, and then you can see, sorry, here. Sometimes point 0.3 and point 0.4, you need to choose. Okay, you have lower latency to your Europe customer, but you may have higher costs. Okay, so this is how we should choose the region. Okay, so this feels like it's just what I mentioned. First of all, take a look on the compliance, the law first. Do we allow the data stay outside of the country? This is one requirement that we should consider when we are doing the architect. And then, is the service available? All right. If not, then we may need to use some other region. And then proximity, it means the latency. All right, measure the latency. Sometimes you may need to try a few times, maybe at night and in the morning, the latency would be different. And then finally, the cost. All right, the cost is different for every region. Okay, do we need to minimize the cost, or is the performance more important to your case? All right, so this is related to how we should choose the region. Okay, and then I think I already did this demo, how we are going to create a static website in S3. Let me just show you once again there. So if I go to the create a bucket, and then you upload the static data, the HTML, the picture, the CSS file, the video file. This is your, of course, you better upload the error page as well. And then if you go to the property and then go to the bottom, okay, static website. By default, it's not on, but here I already turned it on. So if you go inside and host a static website, and which one is the home page? So it's very easy. Okay, just write your HTML file, upload all the static data, and then all the file here. That's it. All right, enable these features. So that's the static website. And if there is no request, you don't need to pay a single cent. And the price for S3 is definitely much cheaper than EC2. All right, so that's how we host the static website. Okay. And finally, this is the final slide, but I still have a lot of things to talk about in this slide. And then I will pass back to Lila. Let's take a look the 10 best practice. Okay, 10 best practice. So in order to have a good architecting, well architect, the first thing, think about scalability. All right, sometimes it's not failure, it's just because you are doing your business too well. All right, too good. So you got more and more traffic. Make sure that your architecture would be able to scale. Okay, think about before we talk about load balancer. Okay, can the load balancer scale out, scale up, and then you got web application. Let's say, okay, so can they scale? Can the database scale? Many customer at the first year they use the database no problem. However, after half year, 2 year, then they start having some database performance issue. How can we do that to scale? If you're already using containerized application, Kubernetes, microservice, serverless, also think about scalability. And then automate. Automate is also very important. I will say not just important, it's the key of using AWS Cloud. I got many customers, they got more than hundreds of application project in the cloud, if we provision everything manually, all right, yeah, it takes a long time, and human will do many error. All right, so if ask an IT admin to create 10 machine, no problem. If you ask him to create 1,000 machine, likely some typo, something wrong. So we better use automate to create everything. In AWS, we have a service called CloudFormation. We can make it infrastructure as code. Okay, so we use code to create everything, every single resources, no matter this is VPC or EC2, RDS, load balancer, or API gateway, Lambda. We use codes to build, and then we can also use the code to update, to remove those things. So automate is also very important. And then use disposable resources. What does that mean? It means that if you are not using this, then you better terminate those machines. Not just EC2, but also think about the database. You may have replica. Okay, before we talk about the RDS database, right? You can create a standby machine. Okay, so if this guy goes down, standby comes up. But the standby machine, you cannot do anything. You here you can read and write. Here it's just standby. You can create something called read replica. For read replica, we can have read only traffic for report, for analytic. So if you are doing the report for 8 hours a day, after that 8 hours, terminate. Okay, 9 to 5, 9:01, you terminate this machine. All right, so that you save 16 hours of the cost. So this is kind of example, disposable resources. If you are using EC2, originally you have 10 virtual machine EC2, maybe nighttime you have only 2 or 3, still would be able to serve those demand. So think about the cloud resources, especially compute resources. Uh, yeah, disposable, temporary. Loosey couple, I see so many cases, they do not do it very well in many projects. Think about in your on-prem environment, you may have server, right? The server may have compute and storage resources. Compute is just CPU memory. Storage is the hard disk, all right? Normally, in your on-prem environment, you store the data there and then use these compute resources. However, as we mentioned before, in AWS, we got so many database service or storage service. We store somewhere else so that we can easily terminate the machine because we don't store the data inside those server. All right, so this is kind of decouple, and there are many other decouple, break it down to microservice, to not make it not tight couple solution. All right, so and then we can use service rather than server. All right, many people when they start using AWS, they use EC2, but after that, think about any serverless technology. Serverless means we don't need to handle those server, and then almost we don't have any provision time for that service. Just I show you S3 is kind of serverless service. Uh, the first button I click is create bucket, and then almost immediately I can upload the data there. All right. So the most important is your customer, your user, happy with your infra, your system. They will not care about what you are using underlying. All right. So we can use the managed service to offload the heavy lifting. All right. So let's take a look on another point. Choose the right database solution. I can say originally Amazon also used Oracle, all right, 20, 15 years before. But if you go to YouTube or Google search, in the year 2019, they shut down the last Oracle server because they, by using AWS, many purpose-built database. Okay, if I just name it, we have relational database, RDS for relational data. We have DynamoDB for NoSQL. We have Elasticache, Neptune, DocumentDB, Redshift. We have more than 10 managed database for different purpose. So we choose the right database solution. All right, just an example, Amazon. All right, for shopping cart, you don't need the relational. We don't need very complex query. In this case, we may consider using caching service. So this one, very easy to understand. Avoid single point of failure. The region may goes down, the availability zone may goes down, the server may goes down, any equipment could goes down. So in our architecture, we should prepare for that. Anything fail automatically comes up without any human intervention. And then optimize for cost. Cost, as we mentioned, we just talk about S3. There are so many tier, and then so many consideration, data transfer out, request, Glacier, retrieval. So understanding the cost, then we can make our architecture much better. And then use caching. Use caching database, you can cache. And before we talk about a little bit on the Cloud Fund, the content delivery network, by using caching, it could be a much better for your customer, because they don't need to calculate, download, travel the traffic again. So just get the result from cache could be much faster and could be much cheaper as well. And then security. And I think for this 10 point, security is the most important because if the CSO, the security team they're not happy, we don't need to talk about anything else. So security is the top priority amongst all the architecture once again. So this is the end of this part, and I'm going to pass it back to Lila. And then Lila, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and take that screen back over. Okay, so thank you, Brian, and everyone for being here and being part of this session. I hope you guys have all enjoyed this insightful event. And now we are going to do a question and answer session, but before we do get to the Q&A session, I'm going to quickly walk you through some of the unique offerings by NetCom Learning. NetCom Learning has been offering a comprehensive portfolio for official AWS trainings with a mix of premier instructor-led courses and free open enrollment options. And these are some of the upcoming schedules for their premier AWS courses. You can access a variety of cloud marketing assets, such as free master classes, free on-demand trainings, and blogs by clicking on the available webinar handouts. And these offerings, they can also be found with a simple search on our website at www.netcomlearning.com. Currently, we are offering a special discount on our popular AWS courses, and those include AWS Cloud Practitioner, AWS Technical Essentials, AWS Security Essentials, Architecting on AWS, Developing on AWS, Advanced Architecting on AWS, and System Operations on AWS. And since this is a limited time offer, it's an excellent opportunity for you to earn cloud skills at a discounted price. And if you are interested in taking up group training, private group training for teams is also available. And the learning plans for these trainings can be customized for any AWS product or solution area to meet the training requirements that help you learn AWS from world-class certified trainers and instructors. I think I might have just gone forward to, I'm not sure. If you're interested in taking, nope. A lack of skilled talent is one of the most common obstacles to the adoption of cloud services. And regardless of your business drivers for using AWS, Skills gaps can potentially derail those outcomes. So, how do you identify and address these skill gaps quickly? Well, there is a solution, a complementary learning needs analysis from NetCom Learning and AWS training and certification. Our LNA is a free self-assessment survey that identifies AWS skills gaps and recommends organizational and individual training plans to address these gaps. The result is faster AWS skills acquisition and optimized training of investments and optimization of training investments, sorry. The AWS LNA also offers you access uh, cloud skills and for wide variety of roles across your organization, from developers and data scientists to managers and executives. If you're looking for unlimited training benefits with an enjoyable learning experience, then we have NetCom Learning Plus subscriptions for you. And to get unlimited access to over 500 authorized training solutions from top-notch vendors such as Microsoft, AWS, CompTIA, and more for one full year. And if you have a budget to allocate training for your team, then the Learning Passport is the right option for you. Experience the ultimate option in value and flexibility with our prepaid training package. You can manage your team's annual training needs and redeem from a range of over 4,000 courses from top-notch technology providers. We also have learning consultants who are available 24/7 to assist you with your questions or concerns. You can just email us at aws@netcomlearning.com. And we will now go ahead and hop back over to our question and answer session. So if you haven't already, go ahead and pop your questions in the questions panel so we can go ahead and address those. Our first question that I'm seeing is, what is the difference between AZs and KMs? And this was put in earlier in our presentation.
The AC and KM, right?
Yes.
Okay. Availability zone contains one or more data centers. All right. And KM is kilometers away. Normally, the availability zone is less than 100 kilometers. So maybe 80, maybe 50 kilometers away. So in a region, we got nowadays most of them free availability zone. That's why we should make multi-availability zone deployment in order to avoid the natural disaster. I think is what the audience is talking about. Yeah, I hope I addressed this question.
Thank you. Our next question, they said you've touched upon failovers. Does CloudFront or load balancers play a role in automatic failover?
Okay, this is actually two questions. Let's take a look on the CloudFront first. Let's take a look on the load balancer first. If you do the load balancer yourself, it means using EC2, you are going to handle the availability. So you need to configure multiple in multiple ASAT. One goes down, you are doing it in F5, Cisco, Citrix, Netscaler way. But if you use ELBs, ELB is AWS managed. By default, when you create ELB under the cover, there are multiple EC2 instances, but you cannot see, you cannot touch. So if those EC2 instances goes down, AWS will create another one. However, there should be at least two, so that you don't need to care, you don't need to manage. It's from AWS side. And when you create a load balancer, you can check the boxes, multi-AC, you just check the boxes. And then even if the whole zone goes down, your other availability zone, the other load balancer instance still there. Okay, so to your point of view, you just check the boxes, multi-AC, then everything done. And the ELB can also help check the EC2. If the EC2 goes down, you don't want your customer, your users see the 4.4 error 500 error, right? So we will take it away. So this is the features of ELB. So built in, they got availability. They also can health check your instance. And actually for CloudFront, once again, it's AWS managed. You don't need to care about that. They have the SLA, the SLA for different service is different. Some service they have 49, 99.99%, and some other service may have 59. So you just consume the service. If anything goes down, AWS will handle. All right. I hope it will also address your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the next question I'm seeing, and we do kind of have to watch the time here. So if you do have questions, go ahead and get those in fast. What about SSL cert for S3?
Okay. Actually, for S3, by default, the endpoint is TLS 1.2 already. So most of the client, if you're using certain kind of browser, 99 point something percent already, you got the client cert. It means that you don't need to handle, all right, because most of the browser already got the cert and they're by default encrypt. But not just S3, if you're using EC2, let's say, or some other ELB, by default, those service do not provide SSL endpoint. So it's port 80, it's unencrypted. But if you want to have further encryption, AWS got a service called ACM, Amazon Certificate Manager. You can grab the certificate there. If those cert are public cert, like you place it in public facing surface, ELB, application balance, or CloudFront, it is free of charge and they will automatically renew. So for AWS endpoint, you don't need to care. For your endpoint, you can add the cert. All right. So I hope, yeah, I answered your question.
Thank you. Okay, so our next question I'm seeing is, can you use S3 for a FTP site?
Okay. A few years before, the answer is no. But now, you can use a service from AWS called Transfer Family. You can search and take a look. If you use this Transfer Family, you can use FTP protocol and upload the data. At the end, the data will be stored in S3. So this is a relatively new service. You can definitely take a look. But yes, we can use FTP.
Awesome. We've had some excellent questions today, I feel like. So then our next question, why is the S3 bucket not within the VPC?
Okay. For VPC, actually, this mainly for some managed service, but they are not really serverless. Okay. In AWS, we got really three types of service. Some service is unmanaged, as I mentioned before, EC2, VPC. Why do we need to concern VPC? Because we still have some service living inside VPC, the virtual networking. Um, let's say the EC2, RDS, the Redshift, the Elasticache, and many other services, they are outside of VPC. Okay, so S3 is one of them, and there are a lot more, like DynamoDB, Lambda, API Gateway. So for those who firstly use cloud service, they want to do it in the on-prem way. So they still want EC2, want the virtual server. But after that, they want to change to serverless, more AWS managed to save cost. I will say the S3 service is purpose built, is totally different from the virtual machine. That's why they're outside VPC. And I see so many customer, they start using serverless after 1 or 2 years. using AWS. Some company, they are relatively aggressive. Day one, they start using the serverless. So they spend so much effort uh, on, they don't need to spend the heavy lifting. Okay, so that's why we need to understand for a service, are they inside VPC, are they inside the region, to make a good architecting framework or do the architecture. Okay, so that's my answer.
Thank you. Okay, it looks like we've had a couple more questions come in. Can you share any URL that compares AWS with Azure?
This question is very large. We can talk for a whole day. Okay. Actually, uh, of course, if you join our training, I have many to show you. But in general, yeah, AWS is the first guy to start the cloud business. Have uh, many experience, and I personally asked some customer why they choose AWS rather than Microsoft Azure, because many of them say the documentation. The documentation uh, in AWS is really good. If you take a look on the other cloud, sometimes they may refer you back to GitHub, or they don't have good document. So uh, both cloud are very big. If you are a Microsoft guy, you use a lot of Office 365, use a lot of Azure AD, then you may tend to use that cloud. But if you are Linux, Mac, but actually a lot of people still run Microsoft workflow in AWS. So yeah, and some customer, they have multi-cloud deployment. So it's your choice, but personally, I like AWS much more. All right, that's a little bit biased. Sorry
Yeah,
about
and this is, like we said before, it's just a small training on a really large topic. So as you
that. Yeah.
said, you could go on about that for hours, but obviously we don't have that. We are going to have to wrap up pretty soon. I do want to make sure we get to as many questions as we can. So can I use S3 as a drive map to my server in data center?
Um, I um, you can use one more service. That's a storage gateway. Okay. Instead of directly map the drive in S3, it is not the case. Uh, in your data center, you can use a service called storage gateway. The storage gateway, if you already have VMware, Hyper-V, KVM, you can download a virtual machine, and then this virtual machine just add as the backup device. Your server mount to this backup machine using the common protocol like the NFS or ISCS, SMB, and then this data will be synchronized to S3 automatically as long as you have internet connection or direct connect. So the answer is not directly to S3, but through the storage gateway. We can do that.
Thank you. Okay, last question we're going to take before we wrap up. They're wanting to know if you can quickly compare serverless versus EC2.
Okay. EC2 is unmanaged. There are some service called managed service like RDS, but RDS under the cover, they are still using EC2. ELB under the cover, still EC2. You don't need to create, but you don't have control. There is provision time for that. For creating the ELB, you may need to wait 2 or 3 minutes. For RDS, some engine, you may need to wait 7 minutes, 10 minutes. So under the cover, there's still virtual machine. Uh, this is AWS managed, but not serverless. For serverless, almost, of course, for serverless, you already have the built-in, highly available fault tolerance, AWS managed everything, but uh, there is likely no provision time for that. Okay, in DynamoDB, the first button you click is create table, and almost immediately you can insert data. Just like in my demo, S3 create bucket, you can almost immediately upload the data. So no provision time and pay for value. That's the serverless technology. So yeah, that's my answer.
Thank you so much. I know that we have plenty of more questions that we could get to, but unfortunately we are out of time. So we're going to go ahead now and launch a quick poll to find out how many people might be interested in taking some additional training. In addition to today's event, we have a lot of informative webinars and events coming up. So please go to www.netcomlearning.com/webinars to register for any of those. And we want to thank you all for joining us today. If you do come up with any additional questions, please feel free to send them to us at webinar@netcomlearning.com at any time. We hope that you all found today's event informative, and we look forward to seeing you back here with us very soon. Also, please feel free to tell your friends and colleagues about our events, webinars, and other courses. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Thank you, Brian.